So, you got Valheim, and you've just finished creating your Mr. Potato Head character, and all of a sudden this bird is soaring through the sky with you in its claws. He drops you off in the middle of nowhere, you don't know what's going on, and now you're wet. Well, in this video I'm going to show you how you can advance beyond the Stone Age early game and kill the first boss in just over 30 minutes like I've done here using ancient Viking ritual techniques. First things first, we need to make a stone axe, so we're going to have to collect 5 wood and 4 stone in order to craft it. You can find branches directly on the ground, or just beat the ever-living piss out of these small trees and shrubs to get wood. You can pick up small stones on the ground as well. Now don't worry too much about these little greylings. They're pretty weak and they're scared of fire, so beating them with your torch is probably the most efficient way of killing them. Don't forget, you're going to have to eat as well, so forage for berries or other kinds of food along the way. Variety is key here, and the last 3 foods you've eaten will determine your stamina and health buffs. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and craft the stone axe and get to chopping, but we can't just chop down any tree. As you can see here, this birch tree is too hard for us to cut down, and we would need metal tools in order to do so. But we really want to get the fine wood from this tree, so here's how we're going to do it. So we're going to go ahead and knock down a tree that's nearby this birch tree, and the reason why is because if we can get it to fall on the birch tree like this, as you can see it's doing damage to the birch tree, and if we get lucky enough we can knock it over. So you're probably thinking, now what? We got this birch log that we still can't chop because my axe is too dull and not strong enough and not made out of metal, but instead, here's what we're going to do. We're going to use the old Valheim log rolling technique and repeatedly roll these logs into each other until the birch logs finally break and give us that fine wood that we oh so desire in order to craft a fine wood bow, which is super OP early game. Now you're probably thinking, how did a simpleton like you discover such an advanced method of harvesting wood on Valheim? Well, just like how man learned to milk a cow, someone had to do it first. When I was a young hatchling, I bared witness to the absolute massacre of a poor innocent deer that was brutally murdered by a rolling log. So I then thought of how I could use this archaic technique in a more practical and humane manner. Thus, the Valheim log rolling meta was born. Alright, in all seriousness here, we are going to need 10 pieces of fine wood, so go ahead and keep rolling them logs until you got 10 pieces. So now we've got all the material that we're going to need for the fine bow. We're going to go ahead and go on a little adventure. We're going to kill all of the animals that we see on the way there, such as these necks, because they give us neck tails, which we can eat. I'm not really sure about the anatomical position of a neck tail, but I heard of a close friend having one once, and he had to have it removed as the doctors thought it was malignant and tumorous, but it turns out it was fine. Also along the way, make sure that you're picking up as much flint as you can, because we're going to need these for crafting arrows later on. Now, once we've found a little place to set up a base, and you don't have to do this, but I like to find a, rundown house and just turn it into my own. We're going to go ahead and slam down this crafting bench right here, because that'll allow us to fix up our little shack that we found, and we can turn it into our house. And now our house is completed, so we're going to go ahead and move this crafting bench into the house so that we can use it as a crafting station, because crafting benches need a roof over top, and as you can see it's too exposed, so we're just going to finish sealing up the house here, and now we can craft. And look at that, we can craft ourselves some wooden arrows, and we can repair all of our stuff right away too. It doesn't cost anything to repair, so go ahead and do that. Set down a fireplace and make a bed, and then we can sleep in it and fast forward until daytime as well. Now we're going to go ahead and hunt some deer and some boar so that we can get leather and leather scraps. Then we can make ourselves a crude bow and maybe some leather armor as well. Alright, now that that's out of our system, we're going to go ahead and craft ourselves a crude bow and some arrows so that we can poach deer more efficiently. And then that way we can make some leather armor for ourselves, because we're going to need it where we're going next. The Black Forest. So, we're coming to the Black Forest in order to harvest a couple pine trees to get something called corewood. We're going to need that in order to make the finewood bow. I think we need 10 pieces, but once in a while, you'll find one of these guys, a troll. Now, he's going to try and ruin your day, but it's quite easy to kill him. All you gotta do is shoot and run, shoot and run, shoot and run. Rinse and repeat until he's dead. That's why you should have made like 100 arrows by now. Okay, now that that big nasty troll is gone, we can resume collecting our core wood. Now pine trees will drop normal wood and core wood, and we need 10 pieces in order to craft this bow. So we got more than 10, so we are good. We're gonna go ahead and bring our materials to our crafting bench and craft the finewood bow. And while you're at it, might as well make your 100 arrows. Now, in order to find the boss, we're going to come back to the area where we spawned so we can read this little map here. It's going to show us where the first boss is, Ichthyr. He's right here in the bush. He's actually not too far away from us. And something important that we need is deer heads. We need to sacrifice a couple deer heads in order to summon him. So I'm bringing 5, but I believe it only takes 2 in order for it to work. After you make the sacrifice, the boss will be summoned, in which you can absolutely annihilate the boss using a bow that you should not have in this point in the game. So now that we've killed the boss, we can go ahead and take his head, literally, and bring it to the sacrificial stone, hang it up as a trophy, and we can now absorb the power of Grayskull! Now if we press F, it'll activate this power, and what this power does is it gives us reduced sprint and jump stamina cost by 60% on a 5-minute timer, and it has a 20-minute cooldown after you use it. Now we can tirelessly gallop through the forest like Legolas in Lord of the Rings, hunting down unending hordes of goblins and orcs. And the rest, well, that's up to you. So if you found any of the information in this video helpful or handy at all, please consider hitting that like button, as it does help the channel a ton. So thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoyed the video.